I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go everything else is like still the weekend. You fucking up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Motivation Monday. We're here again, like we are every week, myself and my partner in crime, Talent. But we're here to set it off. We're here to give you guys some wonderful nuggets, some cool things to think about, some stuff to maybe put in your toolbox and possibly use either later on in the week or at any given time when it applies to whatever it is you find yourself going through. Now, as always, we first and foremost want to, acknowledge the fact that in February is Black History Month. Not that we need a month because Black History is all year, but let's, find a way for us to celebrate. Let's find a way to, find out information that we may or may not know about ourselves and share those things with each other and one another. So this way we can each one teach one. But big and better than that, it was a week of good stuff. Last week in particular was my birthday. So very happy about that. It's Aquarius season. For those who are Aquarians, big happy birthdays and big ups to all the Aquarians out there in the game. But it was my birthday week last week or last week, February 9th, and it was just a really, really dope week. Had such a good time. I want to give big shout outs to everybody who, came out and celebrated with me. My boy Authorized, friend Sophia, my friend Angel, my friend Rashawn, Rick, uh, my friends, just everybody, anybody and everybody who came out, my friend Denise, anybody and everybody who came out who took a moment, send me a birthday shout out. Just come out and celebrate with me at any point during last week. I want to give a big thank you to. It was an incredible, 5 days of doing fun stuff and having a good time. You guys made me feel like I was 24 again, even though I'm 54. So that was a beautiful thing. Um, just in general, like I said, in Black History Month, so I hope that each and every one of us are finding ways to find out information that we feel is paramount and or helpful to us in terms of knowing who we are, not only as a people, but knowing who we are and what we contributed to the world to make this such a better place. So I hope that everybody is really, digging in the crates and finding those nuggets to, like I said, share with one another. I'd like to also, give a big shout out to all of our normal followers. I'm not sure who's on just yet, but if the normal crew is on here, thank you all for always, being supportive each and every Monday. We really do appreciate, your support and the fact that you show up every week and, take time out of your busy schedule to listen to what we have to say and to chime in and give us wonderful pointers and things to talk about down there at the bottom. So thank you and big ups to each and every one of you for that. Um, I, normally would kick this off and, start talking about my weekend, but I'm away from my partner in crime so we can both make you guys laugh. Hope you guys also enjoyed the Super Bowl this weekend, which also happened. I know people having mixed reviews. I thought Rihanna did a great job. I don't care what anybody says, to be pregnant as she was and get up there and do her thing. I thought she did an incredible job. I think that, again, we're here in New York. I don't know, if this is starting to happen around the country, but here in New York, at least last few days, we've been, starting to experience some spring-like weather. So hopefully that's not too far off. And we're, in the transition of the weather crossing over to where it's relatively nice. We put these winter coats away, put away, a lot of the stuff that we, have been seeing as far as hats and scarves and all that stuff, and hopefully put ourselves in a position to the days be longer, get to be outside, get fresh air and all that kind of stuff, and just enjoy yourself. That's what life is about. Every day, take a moment to feel truly blessed by what it is you're having the opportunity to experience, and drink it in. Don't let one or two things throw you off keel and put you in a position in a headspace where you don't need to be. Life is a beautiful journey as long as you look at it through beautiful lenses.
That's why we're
Uh,
here. That's
yes,
why we're
sir.
here, fam. We are
Yes,
here
sir.
to tell people just what he said. Life is a beautiful thing, man. Live it up. Do what you got to do. And if you feel like you're not getting much out of life, obviously, it's just because you're not motivated. And that's why the show was goddamn created in the goddamn first place. All right. So, first and foremost, King, it was good to hear your weekend. It's good to hear your birthday vibes, man. First of all, proud to be a part of it. Just sometimes you're just proud to be a part of something, man, and count your blessings that way. Sometimes, like I live vicariously through other people's happiness all the time. I've learned to do that all the time. You are in sync with God's plan when people being happy actually makes you happy. Because that's part of our existence. We're supposed to be here, love one another, and do for one another, do unto others, and all that. So when you see people have these happy moments, and it fucking makes you happy, that's a whole nother level. Speaking of that, that was my weekend. Had a great weekend, and other people made my weekend, bro. First of all, I was in Atlanta Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and came back. Had to go out there, do shout out to my man Gary Abdul, who owns the Atlanta Comedy Theater. He opened his second branch downtown, the underground area, and it's a sexy ass comedy club. That's all I can say. Very sexy. We had 4 shows, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Shout out to my dude, Big Tigger. Had to go and do an interview. Big Tigger got the morning show on V103 out there. Me, him, Miss Pat, another young lady, and the producer. We had a stone cold blast, brother. When I tell you it was a funny ass interview, I probably got to pay for some of that shit later, but it's funny. Here's the thing. First 2 shows, right? We had a 7, which they kind of started like 7:30 and at 10 o'clock on Friday. The staff, first of all, Kelly Kell's husband, James, came out. My man, Case Smith, came out, comedian from Queens. The staff was dumb cool. They was hanging with us, like comedians. So we all went. We leave out 2 shows, bro. This got to be about 12ish. Go right next door. They got a daiquiri bar. That's the name of it, but they got the regular bar. We go in there. We go ham, bro. We closed this bar down. I think we talked more shit after they closed than when they was open. So that night was a 6:30 in the morning night, which I can't tell you the last time I did that shit. I know I ain't do it during COVID. You crazy? So that was great Friday night. Saturday night, just when I thought I had a good time. Saturday night, my boys, my tight boys I went to high school with, who live in Georgia for the last 2 decades or whatever, always say they coming to shit. They never come to shit. Came out. They came out, double dated with their ladies. It was amazing. So same thing. We went next door out the wood and just fucking kicked it for a couple hours because we had to catch up. You know what I mean? I ain't seen these guys. We ain't hung up in so long. That was stupid dope. Shout out to Trina Campbell, came out, who was part of our social media clique, who brought me a thing that I missed last time when I got the award. She made like a congratulations thing or whatever, sport that out. Once I unpacked, put that up there with my accolades behind me and have a great time. So that was the back-to-back 2 show nights, drinking, having a good time, blah, blah, blah. Then woke up Sunday. Now here's the plan for Sunday was I'm going to go to 2 parties. It was a Super Bowl party was going to hit up. And then at night, Ed Lover was celebrating his birthday. Shout out to my cousin Ed Lover. He was celebrating his birthday. We're going to go to that. I ain't make none of that shit. Tell you right now, none of that shit. You know what I did, Amir? I fucking chilled out that day. Had like a little bit of cookies left. Took my little edibles, bro. I didn't even drink. I watched the Super Bowl sober, nigga. High though. And then I'm like dumb happy because I'm watching it. Here's the funny thing. This is how the Lord loves what I do working the stereo. So I play those sheets all year, gambling on the football. And once you get to the Super Bowl, there's no more sheets. Season's over. They go through the playoffs, which thank God that's good. So that gives you like 20 weeks. You know what I mean? And then you got the Super Bowl. So there's no sheets. So what's very famous in the bar world and the betting world is Super Bowl boxes. I don't know if you've seen these sheets in the bars. You just buy a random. You don't know. It's a blank box. You're hoping you get lucky when they put the numbers to the box. So anyway, in my bar, we had 2 sheets. I think one sheet was $5, one sheet was $10, one sheet was $20. On the big sheet, my nigga. So I'm sitting there, and I keep going to the sheet as the game going on. Fucking the biggest purses are halftime and the final. The first and third quarters are cool, but the biggest is half, and then fucking finale is the biggest. Halftime hits. Who wins halftime? I call these motherfuckers all the way from Atlanta, so I don't make no motherfucking mistake about it. Hey, I got the second. I got half. Everybody's like, oh shit, Tina's hating. Fuck you. Play another quarter. They come out of the halftime after beautiful Rihanna do a thing. Fucking third quarter, the numbers shifted, but those are my numbers too. Bob got him. Now here's the funny thing. I wanted like $1,000 fucking around. If that game went the other way where Philly got the field goal and won 38-35, you know there's another $1,000 on top of that because that was the finals on another card.
Wow.
So I was feeling good already. And then I get to call all the people I know because everybody named Mother I know thought Philly was going to get it. So I was up calling and just fucking with people. People was mad as motherfucker. But hey, don't fuck with me because people know how I get when I win. When I win, I'm that dude. So the Super Bowls, let's talk about this. Now, I thought it was perfect to pick it apart because it's Motivation Monday. And there's very motivating things in here. Now, as far as the game goes, I said this to the driver today coming home. I said, yo, bro. I said, we were talking about the game, and I said, you know what's funny? Jalen Hurts, when you look at the two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, he's a big guy. He's a big, strong guy. But he looks tough. You know what I mean? Like football-wise. He looks tough. Patrick Mahomes don't look tough. But how many times, all the years we've been watching football, how many times we watched those guys that they're actually tough, but they do not look the part. They don't look tough at all. That's Patrick Mahomes. So let that be a motivating aspect for everybody in life. Book by cover, we don't judge. Because you'll fuck around and get the wrong ending. Do not judge the book by cover because everything ain't just because you look the part. You know, growing up in the hood, how many people I know that looked the part of a gangster and a thug and a force to be reckoned with, only to be knocked the fuck out by the nerd on the block?
True story.
The nigga with the thick glasses and the khakis with the wedgie up his ass, but got a mean right.
Yeah.
So you can't judge the book by its cover. You know what I mean? And watching this dude, because 2 games in the playoffs, they had to buy 2 games in the playoffs, including this one, the third game. He's gotten hurt. He's tweaked that leg. He's tweaked that ankle and all this stuff. I mean, come up hobbling through the whole. We know how painful that shit is in the middle of the game. But the resilience, let this be an example of you, and no matter what it is you want to do. His resilience to say, listen, yeah, whatever it is, I'm not coming out the game, and we're gonna make this motherfucker work. We're gonna tweak it a little bit. Maybe I'll hand it off once or twice, a little more than I want to, but we in this shit together. And I love that about him. Not to say that anybody really play their heart out as well, but to the victor goes the spoils. Now we get to halftime. Rihanna comes. Am I the biggest Rihanna fan in the world? Absolutely not. Do I know that she dope and respect her skill and her gift and craft and know that she's good at what she do? Absolutely. But you got to understand something. There's always going to be, no matter how dope you are, no matter how cool you are, whatever the case may be, I don't have to be your fan to love your performance. Let me say that again. I don't have to be your fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Rihanna fan. I'm not the biggest fan, but you got diehards out there. I know people die. However, watching the show, I was very inspired by that show for more reasons than one. I mean, the obvious reason, the elephant in the room, is she's pregnant with the second kid. And in a short period of time, these 2 kids, and you're taking the biggest event that we got to offer in the country and probably most of the world, the fucking Super Bowl. So if that ain't a fucking resilient story for you, now let's get to the performance. performance to me, I thought it was dope. I thought it was perfect for her songs. Like I heard some complaints that Donald Trump don't count. I heard some complaints, some real critics who were like, "Oh, she didn't move enough," or she didn't. First of all, settle down, pervs. The only motherfucker that cares she didn't move more would be the pervs. Because you know how sexy and sensual she can perform and get into her shit and everything, and that's all good. But the fact that you're gonna hold that to her in your ratings of her performance, you're a perv because she sung her fucking song. She got a mad a plethora of fucking hits. She killed them. The fucking coloring, the core, the technical part of it all, it was dope and flawless vocally. So she didn't have those moments where because we've heard those moments at Super Bowls where motherfuckers miss that, or off or knee. Flawless. I like it. What did you think about the halftime?
Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit because we spoke about the game first. So let me get to the game. First and foremost, I thought that's probably one of the dopest Super Bowls we've had in a very long time. Like I thought it was like, yeah, there was some calls that people could say this, that, and the third, but to be honest with you, they were called what they were called, and they were calls. It's not like they weren't legitimate calls. That's one. Secondly, to your point about motivation, if you weren't motivated by the fact that, like you said, Patrick Mahomes with a high ankle sprain went out there and played his heart out, and I mean did play his heart out. That kid left everything out there on the field. You could see there was moments when he was wincing and going through the various things that put him in a headspace that for most of us we might have quit and said, look, go and let the next string quarterback in there and see what they could do. He didn't do that. The other thing that should have been motivating for a lot of you, and this is what we say when they say strength in numbers, his team rallied around him. Those scrambles that he did in that game were what made his team go the extra mile. Number 32 on the defense, who seemed to shut just about anything and everything down that was coming across that middle. I can't think of his name right now, but 32 on the defense. That's why he was so motivated. If our quarterback is going to lay it out here on the line, then I got to lay it out here on the line. So I think what we saw was, or what people should take away from that performance was, this is why you have strength in numbers. When you have somebody who is willing to lead you, it's okay to get on board and go, you know what? Take us to the promised land. Whatever that's going to look like, we with you. We're going to ride with you. Let's go. Let's get behind you. Let's get behind that person or partner up with that person, lock arms. Let's take it there. And I thought that the Kansas City Chiefs did that. And it was evident by Kelsey's sentiments and statements at the end when he said, nobody gave us a shot. And we really didn't. Let's be honest. Nobody gave him a shot. Talent is the only person I know who honestly was giving them a shot and was saying, like, look, y'all, maybe the Eagles aren't everything that y'all think they are yet. I think to Hurts's chagrin, this was the first time he was on that stage. A lot of us talk smack, whether we're talking about the players themselves or the performances. You're on the world stage when you do the Super Bowl. You ain't just representing your block. You ain't just representing what you call. If y'all watch the game, Ghana had tuned in. And I think there was a Spanish country that tuned in that they showed highlights, of them sitting around watching the game. So this is the world stage. Rihanna, let's get to the halftime show. First of all, I thought she did an incredible job again for the condition that she was in, everything to the song choices that she made. And let's be clear, she got hits, like T said. I was at a Super Bowl party, T. It was nothing but dudes. We was under my umbrella and shine bright like a diamond like everybody else. And it was nothing but dudes in there. We like, yo, son, she's killing it right now. So I want everybody to settle down. As you like to say, settle down. The lady did her thing. She absolutely destroyed that yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that, again, like you said, when you look to or for motivation, there's a couple of things that she did that I thought was amazing. First of all, be however pregnant she is and to come on that stage and do what she did, motivated. Y'all may or may not have peeped this. She also had the dopest commercial of them all because she pulled out her own Fendi makeup and touched herself up while she was doing her performance. Now, that's when you're a boss. I'm gonna do this performance, but I'm gonna do a commercial for myself too in the midst of my performance. Boss stuff, things that people need to really pay attention to. And then the other thing that I thought was incredible, job overall that the NFL did, which is the first time I perceived that they've done this since we've been having the Super Bowl, and it's always in February, is they seem to cater to and or highlight the fact that it is in this month. We had we hate to say it, the Black National Anthem, but we had that. We had America the Beautiful. And, so I think that they did an excellent job to me of highlighting those things and trying to have some sort of inclusion to say that, hey, quote unquote, we do recognize y'all, we do understand. And then, the last and the biggest piece of the puzzle is you had two African-American quarterbacks against one another. It don't get no better than that. I know we all wanted, either team to win, but the winning was the fact that you had these two young men who obviously have been inspired by not only the quarterbacks who have gone before them, but I'm sure some of the African-American quarterbacks who've gone before them, the Randall Cunninghams, the Doug Williams who was there, the Michael Vicks, and people of that ilk. So it was really great to see these two gentlemen in particular lead their teams in one of the greatest gladiator sports that our country, has the privilege of promoting and trying to take, on a global scale. So I thought it was, like I said, I honestly, T, this is the first time I can say I enjoyed the Super Bowl in its entirety. That's the first time I can say that in a while. I really did. I didn't have no complaints. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, here's the funny thing. It's funny you say, hey, man, it happened to happen in Black History Month, and we got all these good things going on, as definitely as of recent with all the climate change and everything, except for Chris Berman. Have you heard about Chris Berman?
No. What did he do?
So Chris Berman's on blast today because, like Amir said, you have all this African-American stuff going on, paying homage. So the game is about to start. Chris is one of the announcers, have been for decades. He's a big name in sports announcement. So he's announcing, he's like, oh, the guys are taking the field now. And, such and such. He said, two African-American quarterbacks for the first time facing off against each other in the Super Bowl in Black History. And aptly so, today is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. The motherfucker made a slave reference. Nigga, it's like, and it means so much, aptly so, because today is Abe Lincoln's birthday. Nigga, we will murder you. And we don't hear no shit about that right now. Say Black History Month, that's beautiful. They always go a step too far. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So he's been under fire overnight, and as soon as I got up and hit the phone and everything, it was on social media. I'm like, what did he do? So I go back to the clip. I just started laughing because this shit happens all the time. Like, again, some people don't know where that line is. That is a growing pain between cultures, and sometimes you don't know that line. It's like one of the lines that I had to learn in business. A thing in business that's different with the Caucasian culture as opposed to African-American. African-American, if I tell you 8 o'clock, you just hear 8 o'clock. Now, even though you heard 8 o'clock, your black ass still might not walk into 8:15, 8:20, 8:30 if you're real black. You know what I mean? So, but in the white world, time is different. So if you're not early, you're late.
Yeah.
Am I right? In the business world, if you're not early, you're late already. You know what I'm saying? You need to be 5, 10, 15 minutes early because that's a business thing, a cardinal rule. If you're not early, you're already late. So my black folks, I put that out there. I'm gonna give you that little nugget and go ahead and run with that and try to complete that. Anyway, I agree with Amir. This definitely was a very, very entertaining and well done Super Bowl, well played by both sides. What you want in a good game is to not know how it's going to end until the end. That's a good game. To not know how it's going to end, be on pins and needles. This one's doing this one. Every time you thought they was about to run away with it, some shit happened and they did. and then this, and then that, and then the fucking first field goal, he kicked and hit the goddamn upright.
And go, yeah.
That's why I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna put this out here. This is why I know gambling is so attached to sports. The game is 35-35. And I'm sorry, ladies, lady viewers, we'll get off this shit in a minute. The game is 35-35. And it's a minute 40 left. And you see that play with it's a touchdown. And he falls down short of the goal because Andy Reid's conservative ass. That's the only thing I hate about Andy Reid. Fourth quarter, he will get fucking conservative on you. So they neglect to take the 6 points with added extra points, 7 or 8 points, and give them the ball with a minute and a half left to sit and run the clock out, hoping on the field goal. I don't agree with this. This is gambling. This is all gambling shit. You take guaranteed fucking points, bro. Especially with the game on the line. You take that and put some faith in your defense that they'll stop them. But even if they don't, if they fail stopping them, all the fuck they can do is tie it back up. So I couldn't understand the you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna leave that free money on the table and I'm gonna run it down all the way down as I can, and we're gonna kick it. The same nigga who boinked, you're betting the Super Bowl on this nigga boinked already. First time kicking, dude. I would have been shitting my pants. Like, bro, give me these free points and let my defense do the work. But that's just I already know that's got to do with bookies and numbers and all that good stuff. Anyway, once again, 26 and a half minutes into the show. This is Amir Silly, your boy Talent Harris, Motivation Monday, produced to you by the one and only super producer Prophet Pete. I want to get to something that's kind of connected before we go into because I got two other things that are a little more pressing or serious or timely. But speaking of the Super Bowl, we got to come up with, and maybe we'll bring that shit in next week or something, but top 5 cities or top 10 cities with the craziest fans. I think Philly is top 5, bro. Like, win or lose, they tear shit up. This shit don't make no sense, bro. Like there's a protocol around the country. You get to the Super Bowl or championship game, your team lose, you fuck a few things up. I get it. I'm upset too. I lost 20,000. Blah 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 blah. But Philly, win or fucking lose, they're gonna tear some shit. I'm looking at these motherfuckers in the neighborhood, right? And I'm like, they flipped a car. And the first thing that crossed my mind, called me petty. Whose cars? And do you know? Seriously, because it's a neighborhood, and if y'all in this neighborhood, I presume some of you motherfuckers know people in the neighborhood. Do you know who car it is before you flip it? Do y'all? Is there a guy that? Hey, is this Teresa shit? It's not. Who's this? And then you flip it. You know what I mean? But I don't see that shit. I just see these motherfuckers going and going and going until they get the shit done and they do the fucking thing. I love Philly to death, bro. But Philly is one of those cities. This is how hard the fans love. That's one of I call it an affirmation city. So you start comedy, right? In my case, you start comedy, you're a young buck, 20-something years old, and, you know, yeah, you're doing good in New York, but part of you don't feel secure in that because you feel like, well, you're maybe doing good because I live here. But what about if I leave here? Am I funny somewhere else, whatever, right? So Philly, being one of the first ones, you know, that I started to navigate to on a more frequent than others, the fans are so fucking real. They were affirming and confirming my funniness. Like, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm really funny. You know, because these motherfuckers, not fucking with any and everybody. And you talk about critics, them niggas don't fuck around when it comes to critiquing. You feel what I'm saying? So that was one of my, you know, affirming first cities. But when I watched them in sports, my dude, listen, I said, yeah, win, lose, or draw. They won shit they tore up. They lost shit they tore up. Have you seen this shit on the news?
Yo, I saw that crazy video, and then the second one I'm sure you saw was the young man, I guess, who lost the bet, and he must have been at the Super Bowl party, and he banged the screen. It was like above the fireplace or whatever. You haven't seen that one? Yo, some kid, I guess like I said, I think he bet or something, and when they kicked the field goal, he was like, no. don't let him run out the time and kick the field. And as soon as they kicked the field goal, whoever's house he was, if it wasn't his, he threw a bottle at it, and then he banged it with his fist, and then he tore it down. And his friends are like trying to calm down. He's like, don't say nothing to me. You don't know how much money I lost. And I was thinking to myself, son, see, that's where betting goes wrong. Like if you can't afford to lose it, then don't be out there doing that. Just go on and do like everybody else. In your head, bet and say, you know what, dag, I would have lost A, B, C, and D. If that's how it was. Super Bowl party I was at, we were all just sitting around. Nobody I know had a box, or maybe like one dude had a box. And he was like, I mean, I ain't even close to, the numbers aren't even close to me getting any money. And we just, like I said, really just enjoyed the game. I was like, this game was a solid game. Like you said, there was the back and forth, there was the comebacks, there was the look on the quarterback's faces. There was even team members who went to other team members and was like, yo, I need you to get it together. We here for one purpose. That's it. And I thought, again, to your point, that's motivating, because sometimes you may be the team member, or you may be the team member who's on the other end of it, who somebody is trying to help motivate you or get you on point or get you, in the right mind frame and mindset so that you can do and step into your greatness. And I think, to your point, that's why sports is in some ways so, that's why we love it so much, because we see ourselves sometimes in those moments and we think to ourselves, dang, I had a moment like that last week. I was asked to step up. Thankfully, I was able to come through, pull a meeting together, do whatever I needed to do in order to make this thing work. That's what life is. It's finding those moments where you can go into your own mind and go, you know what? I'm ready for this. I got it. I've been prepping for this, unbeknownst to myself, because that's the other thing that happens. See, when you're again immersing yourself in life and you're taking everything that you're learning and really, soaking it in, it's preparing you for these moments that are to come. That's really all life is. It's preparing you for that moment when all of that stuff that you've been working on. Oh snap! That's why that was happening to me. So right now, I could be prepared to handle this moment. And I looked at, like you said, everything that, the game had to offer. And, like you said, even the, entertainers, people, again, she's been off for 7 years. First of all, some of y'all can't be off your work for 2 weeks. You come back and we can't get you to act right. It's 2 weeks. She was 7 years and she didn't miss a beat. She, like I said, still looked as gorgeous as she's supposed to. She still sounded, phenomenal. And like I said, she got hits. Let's stop acting like that lady does not have hits. She got hits for days. I was surprised that she didn't bring people out, to be honest with you, but to our surprise, and she said it, she said, I got a surprise for y'all. And she brought that belly out so y'all could see. This is what I'm doing now with my life. Now, for those of us who are parents, and I know some of the people who are going to watch this, some of y'all are parents, think of how powerful that is. She had the opportunity to debut her second child during the Super Bowl and let the entire free world know that there's another beautiful child coming, and she's taking her motherly duties seriously.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Speaking of, so here's the funny thing about double standards. Because your ex-president 4-5 couldn't wait to put a statement out in his review of how horrible and trash and disgustingly disrespectful her show was and blah, blah, blah. This is your ex-president, 4-5, right? All over. Isn't that bullying? Isn't that kind of shaming or something like that? Doesn't it go into those guidelines that I've been seeing and reading about and everybody been protesting about? Because, and this is a good segue because I did want to talk about bullying and how we handle it, because we came up in a different era where there was one way of handling bullying, head on. You know what I mean? You either fucking ran your whole life, or at some point you had to fucking face the belly of the beast and say, what, man? The fuck? And the chips fall where they may. They advise against that these days. That's not the way to go according to the current status of the country. So now the pressure, they feel like it was strength in numbers. So if we all get together and sort out these bullies and shamers and point at them and put them on blast and cancel culture and all these things, we'll see some of the problem. I look at this like the same thing. I look at this like here's my thing. Unless something crazy drastic happens at this type of thing, it's a free game television wise to everybody in the world. It's the Super Bowl. They pick an artist, the artist or two or whatever, or three, do a performance and at the halftime of the game. Cool. How many years have we watched the Super Bowl and the halftime person? They're not our genre of music of choice. It's not our music of choice. We're not a fandom, whatever. We don't break our TVs. We don't fucking say fuck Garth Brooks. Garth, I'm just using just hypothetical in case the shit get back to Garth. I do like Garth Brooks, but I'm just saying. Every artist that do it, the whole collective may not be in line with that artist. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody, I'm sure everybody watched last night, not a Rihanna motherfucker, probably. You know what I mean? You got people out there like whatever, you know. But the good thing about our people that I know for history is we are an adapting motherfucker. Don't make no mistake about that. You worked in corporate. I've had to deal with corporate motherfuckers my whole life. We'll be at some shindigs. Are they shindigs we knew about on our own? No. But we go on our own? No. But my boy at the job, he asked me to come with him. Come, we hang, get a couple drinks. And by the time you get home, you know what we always say? You know what?
Not that bad. You always do say.
It's like me and my kids. My whole life of fatherhood. Anytime I take a trip with them damn kids, I'm scratching and clawing to go. I don't want to go. Fuck, 4 days, 5 days. I got, and every fucking time, I must say, knock on wood, every single time, not one time excluding it. I'm like, you know what? I'm having a good time because I'm that dumb motherfucker, and that's what people are to me. Like, you know what I mean? So, my thing, I say all that to say, I'm trying to find the point in there where, forget whether it's a good or bad performance, where it was offensive. Because
Well,
I'm using some of the president's words.
well, you know what I think my understanding is. Apparently, she took a major stance against him during his campaign initially back, when he was running. And I think because of her stance, his level of pettiness, that's what we were seeing. And I say this humbly, especially on this platform, because like you said, we're trying to promote positivity and we want people to come away with, things that move them forward. You don't win when you're being petty. I know people think that there is some level of whatever to it, but you really don't win when you're being petty. And you don't win when you're being petty for this reason alone. First off, what does it look like for I don't even know how old 45 is, but however old he is, old guy, to be having a hissy fit about a young woman whose genre music he may or may not even understand. May or may not even understand.
Well, hold up a minute.
For all it,
I don't know how old he is.
For all intents and purposes, you couple that with the fact that this gentleman in particular, he always seems to be on the side of the most negative thing that you can say and or do when it comes to people. Now, honestly, I don't understand how you could be president, or you could be anything, or former president, or anything for that matter, where you have to deal with people, yet it seems as though you don't like people. It's an oxymoron of sorts, like when you really think about it. And that's what boggles the mind when it comes to him in particular,
Right.
is watching him, try to justify this level of stupidity. Now, we could all say that, it has to do with lack of education and, all these other things, but this is just a petty man. And sometimes you got to let people who are petty just be petty by themselves. I think that, it's just incredible to me that this guy still has the ability to just say people's skin, and stuff like that. What is this? So, that part of it, I don't understand. Makes it so crazy is, that whole energy and people doing those, doing those kinds of things, especially him. But I hope that, again, we take lessons from this. 45. This is not a dude who I ever say to myself like, whatever he's saying or bringing to the table is something I need to really pay attention to, other than for comedic purposes, like Talon said. That's usually when I look, I'll be like, okay, he probably did something that's going to be hysterically funny once you kind of dissect it. And I feel like that's exactly what happened in that moment with him and her. But like I said, I know specifically she was, had spoken and said some things against him when he ran, and he took it personal. And I guess because Rihanna, at the time, had a name and, had a platform. Wait a minute, she's not endorsing it. No, sir, she's not.
Yep.
She
You know
doesn't
how
like you.
you know how petty and dangerous that is. If our president can be petty like that and hold grudges over little shit like that, imagine the world leaders and fingers on nuclear bombs and shit like that and gas chambers and shit like, dude, that's politics. She might not like you, then went against you in your politics, and you move on. Like, thank God we broke up the monotony of that presidency. Not to say that he might not get in there, but we had to break up the monotony, because the longer consecutive years you got, to me, the more damage you probably could do. Quick breaking news flash before I get back to a little more on bullying. Barney's back. This is going to be motivating to young motherfuckers, yo. Barney, the purple dinosaur, you know Barney. I love you. He's coming back. They said they might change up a few things, but the toy giant Mattel announced Barney's back, friendly. Not only he's back in the stores on the shelves, Barney and Friends show is coming on TV. So he's going to be airing on PBS. He already had on PBS, excuse me, but he'll be coming back with the Barney and Friends show. Remember, for those who forget, the millennials were growing up on Barney.
Yeah.
We were like the parents of the millennials. 1992 to 2010. That's a hell of a run, bro.
Yeah, that actually
Barney was the man, B. Barney is coming back. So I thought that was funny. All right. Yeah. So speaking of kids in school, so unfortunately in the last, I'm going to say 2 weeks, I've read and something just dropped, which made me bring this up today, is something just dropped today. Some kid killed themselves. And there's too many instances where this goes back and then the cause is being bullied. Let's look at, because we talk about it all the time, that this is we make in jest, in a funny angle, we always say, oh, these kids today are soft, blah, 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 blah. Okay. We know that to be true because we know how we grew up. But now, going a step further, knowing what we know, that they are softer, that they are way more delicate, way more sensitive, take things to heart, more personal, wear it on the sleeve, whatever those things are. Okay, now it's, even though we want to laugh and inside joke and point the finger, look, they soft, we did this. But at the same time, let's be real seriously and keeping an eye on these sensitive kids. Keeping an eye on different people and how they're handling things, because it's now school is one angle. It could be school, it could be after school, it could be a program they do. The parent can have them in an extracurricular thing, a sport maybe, playing a debate team, or playing on something, or visiting something. But they're moving in these groups where internally in said group there's some bullying on them, and depending on the kid, look at the two extremes. I just brought up one extreme, suicide. That's all the way right. But what about all the way left, where those kids who've been bullied write these little manifestos, right, and shoot up a school and their classmates?
Yeah.
Either way, we have to pay more attention to the kids. I got to give them a shout out, because bullying, like I said, the last 2 weeks, got to be on the 4th or 5th story, and it ain't like they're all happening over here or they all happening over here. They sporadic. They have no fucking pinpoint. You watch those detective stories, they try to put it all together. This shit has no connection to put together and go, aha. The only thing synonymous with all of them is they can find a history of the kid going through some sort of phase of bullying.
Wow. So crazy, and that just again to really delve a little bit deeper into the bullying thing. You gave scenarios like you said that we grew up with when it came to bullying. One was dealing with it head on, and like you said, the other one was running. I think conflict resolution, which is something that isn't necessarily being taught to a lot of our young people these days, but that's for a number of reasons. I always say that, it's wonderful that we have the internet, because the internet has allowed us to have a broader audience, have more people whom we can possibly be in contact with, generally speaking, not necessarily personally, but generally speaking. And I think largely in part what we're up against and why bullying has become such a major thing is because, to your point, that is now on such a broader scale for so many young people. So what happens is when these kids are getting bullied and these things.
Uh-oh, Prophet, what'd you do? You took him out. You took Amir out.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Hey.
So we have, all these kids who are now, being bullied on a viral level. And unlike we did, when somebody said, Amir and Talon are going to have a fight at 3 o'clock, I did the 3 o'clock, thing. You had to be in the school in order to, kind of, have any semblance of that. But now with the advance of cell phones, the various other, things that allow you to take video and, do all this stuff, your knockout on your block or, at school could hit your block way before you make it home. So now you got, to deal with talk and, and all this stuff. And I think, one of the things that we all don't do necessarily a good job of is not understanding that any and all incidences that happen are really only a split second. They seem longer than that because our emotions are tied to it. We're invested in all these things. But as I've heard, and as all of you have heard, this too shall pass. And our problem is we can't get to that. Our brain can't project us to that far ahead. So we're stuck in the virtual cycle of it being here and now. And with the here and now, it allows, or unfortunately puts us in a headspace where depression sets in and, things of that magnitude, which eventually leads to the possibility of suicide or the possibility of, like Talon said, a manifesto where this child decides, you know what, I'm going to make everybody pay for, whatever interesting thing that they think is, has happened to them. And I just don't think we do enough of that. I think everything is computer generated now. So these kids don't have things to deal with in real time when we had to deal with stuff in real time. If, like you said, somebody was bullying, you had to get off that school bus and knuckle up, or somebody around your neighborhood, you had to knuckle up. There was no, secretly in class, we might giggle amongst ourselves about, one another, whatever the case may be. But cats didn't send a video of you doing something out of line, and all of a sudden the entire school has it in video. It was sent, with one airdrop or whatever these kids are capable of doing now. So it's just a different level of intrusion that these kids have to deal with. That, like I said, we may or may not have had to deal with. Not to mention, we did a better job of cutting certain things off at the source because you had friends. So if somebody was saying something wild about Talon, that's my guy, that's my dude, I'm gonna be like, yo, son, like, what y'all doing? We don't play that game over here. Then the next call is the Talon, yo, T. They'll be talking reckless, whatever. But these kids don't even have that kind of rapport with each other anymore. They don't, they don't get to learn one another. They don't get to know each other. And I think that because of that, then there's not the ability to embrace people's differences. We got a chance to embrace that. You had kids in your neighborhood who were athletic. You had kids in your neighborhood who were geeks. You had kids in your neighborhood who, were into other things. But you got to embrace it because when it came time to play football, it came time to play baseball, it came time to jump rope, or whatever the case may be. Every woman who what is watching this show, y'all had that one girlfriend. She was too prissy. She didn't double dutch with y'all. She didn't play hopscotch. She wasn't playing no jacks. She just wasn't gonna do it. She's like, I'm too cute, And the same for us fellas. We had, the one dude in the crew, you know, he's too smooth. I don't, nah, son, I don't really play sports, you know, whatever. Now, for the most part, guys are always, you know, try to get down because it's for bragging rights and it's bravado and, you know, and provided with that. But like I said, these newer generations don't necessarily have that same innate energy in them that we had because we were, you know, and I hate to say forced, but we went outside. You got to go over to your friend's house and, you know, see what they had that you didn't have. My favorite running joke is I remember, you know, my house, my pops was the king of the saltines, but my boy house, they had townhouse. They had them townhouse tea. I couldn't wait to go over there. Yo, son, you got any townhouse? You know what I mean?
That's
Well,
funny.
you know, but those are the little nuances and differences that you have when you're young that allow you to, you know, shape your ideas and, you know, and learn stuff. But when you don't have that, when you're not put in a position to, you know, go through that kind of process, then you just think to yourself, I'm odd man or woman out and, you know, nobody likes me and the world hates me. And that's definitely not the case. You just going through a moment. And I just encourage everybody, whether you're an adult, whether you're a child, or you have children, grandchildren, whatever the case may be, please encourage and teach your children that things are just a moment. They don't last forever. The
Yeah,
sun's always going
and
to come
this
out.
too shall pass. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's
You
that's
know,
some shit I live by. You know, and this too shall pass. You got to know that. You got to know what you're doing, man. Basically, but yeah, definitely just chime in with the kids, man. You know what I find very motivating and positive, and again inspiring. And I look at my own hood, right? When I come back, like fast forward, these guys were kind of older than us and kind of helped raising us in the hood, and they probably can be labeled what you would call today a bully back then, right? But they were just tough guys, you know what I mean? And you know, we come up in the concrete jungle, so you had to defend yourself, and you had to get street reps and cred so people didn't f with you wherever you went. What's inspiring to me is fast forward now because I had a time where from '95 all the way up until that 15-year span from '95 was really a time when I had places of residence in different places, right? So I had a little place in Atlanta. I had my place in LA. I had joint in Jersey, stayed in Pelham. And so you had, you know, all these places. But when I came back home and, you know, dumped back down to the main house and back in Mount Vernon, there was about a good 5 or 6 dudes. And I see them from time to time, but there's like 5 or 6 dudes that have become these motivators and these mentors and all of that stuff instead of all the people they bullied. Like, and so when I, you know, see them doing their thing in the hood or whatever, and how they changed and metamorphosed into that person, it's amazing. I know you got them in your hood.
yes. You know, it's so funny you say that. I think, you know, to your point, what tends to happen, and you know, again, this is life. That's why I said you have to immerse yourself in every moment. Is you start to realize that, you know, you could use your same energy, you could use that same ideology, you could use that same stuff for good. Yeah, when you was younger, you thought it was cool to, you know, push certain people around or to, you know, utilize your energy, you know, your size and all that to, like you said, supposedly, you know, push boundaries. But as you get older, you start to realize that a lot of things that we thought were, you know, made sense to us and were great. As you get older, you start realizing that those are programmings that you needed for that time. I think you hit it perfectly when you said, you know, you gave a time frame. In '95, you needed to be this kind of person because that's the environment that you were in. You needed that to not only protect yourself, but protect anything and everything else that was a part of who you are and what you did. As we get older, you start to realize, one, first of all, you start to truly work towards your peace. If you know that's truly what you aspire to, you know, have. And then you look for and being in and around things that one make you happy and pour into you. When you're younger, you know, you're headstrong. You know, old elders try to talk to you sometimes, the OGs, the, you know, whatever in the neighborhood try to give you advice and you tell me no, I know everything. But as you get older, you start realizing how much stuff one you didn't know and how much stuff you now need to know. You know what I mean? And the fun thing about it, or the interesting thing about it, is as you get older, It's not so much that you can't do it or that you won't do it. It just the energy level that you had when you were younger allowed you to get into things a lot quicker and a lot sooner. As you get older, you're a little more set in your ways. You're a little more, just feeling as though, I don't feel like it. I don't need that. And we all find ourselves in those spaces at times for various reasons. But do yourself a favor. Try to look at those situations and say to yourself, really, what can I pick up? What can I learn from this? What things can, as I always tell y'all, either delete or upgrade, and then make the decision to implement those things into your everyday practices. This shot in this beautiful world that we have, I always tell y'all, we get one shot at this. And, we, again, have been talking, like you said, positively this entire time. I'm just going to bring this up because it's one of the elephants in the room. We all are fans of De La Soul, and we see, we lost Pluck to one of the members of, De La Soul. And I only bring that into the conversation because 54 years old, I'm 54. I know T is 53 going on 54. And we, some of the people on our chat are in and around that age. Celebrate, enjoy, make sure that you're doing the things that you want to do. Make sure that your star is shining as bright as it can. And when I say shining as bright as it can, I mean just simply doing the things that God gifted you to be able to do and bring to the world, whatever that is. Don't let your light dim. Don't recess back into the background. Be you. God put you here for a reason. He wants to see you share that gift. He wants to see you help other people, be inspired. And the only way you can do that is, first of all, inspiring yourself, and then living and standing in that gift, standing in that light. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful,
You
beautiful
ain't never lied.
place.
I appreciate that, my brother. You ain't never lied. We're going to let the people kind of captives go after this last little comment. It's Motivation Monday, people. Appreciate you guys. We jumped in here a few minutes late. But last but not least, what I want to put out there in a motivating level is it is that time people are doing their taxes. And our people, I don't know, lack is not the right word. I don't know if refuse is the right word. We refuse to do the research and the due diligence to know all the things you can truly apply to your taxes when you're filling out your taxes. A lot of you guys work from home like I do. You got a desk or office like I do. You're putting in work in here. This is deductible. This is things around your house. Matter of fact, I had to learn these things a long time ago. Like people are like, oh well, shit. There's a portion of your house that's your actual office you work in. Write that shit off. The office itself. You know what I mean? Things that you have technologically connected to what you do for a living, they be deductible. It's a ton of things. I can't name them all because I don't know what you do per se for a living and how many things go into your work. But trust when I tell you, your counterparts out there, they get every dime and nickel accounted for, and when they file their taxes. Our people are the only people that straight up and down, black and white, they go what I make, they go tax, and walk out and leave hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on the table, which anything on the table goes back up. So on a positive note, you must really, really do that. You must really pay attention. And it's nothing but getting a tax book and reading or you can nowadays, like you just said, noodling, they don't want to open books. Okay, Google it. Bring it up on your computer. You know what I mean? But whatever the case may be, I don't want people continuing missing out. We've been missing out way too long. We're putting the pressure on governments and everybody else to get better and do better so we can be better. Well, then let's apply that same pressure to oneself. You do better. You be better. You come off better. But it only can happen if the only person that matters who gives a fuck about you. Guess what that is?
Yes.
You. Speaking of you, check it out on Netflix. My show You's back. That's a crazy boy. Boy, that dude, that's a wild boy. Anyway, Motivation Monday. I appreciate your time. We don't take you for granted, folks. That king right there, name is Amir Silly. I'm your boy, Talon Harris. Glad he was able to make this joint. And until next Monday, everything Amir said today was the jewel of the day. So use that for the whole week going forward. And I'm sure we'll see you box seats 1 to 2 o'clock. Monday through Friday, so I missed it today, obviously, but I will be back tomorrow on Box Seats. Amir, you have a blessed Monday, brother. The Knicks are about to play the Nets. You know what I'm about to do.
Yes,
You heard?
sir.
You see the hat.
Yes, sir.
I'm already game mode. Where my Knicks at, B? Where my Knicks at, B? God bless y'all, man. We love y'all. Ain't nothing y'all can do about it. Prophet Pete, take us out.
It's Monday, cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then, this is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with the taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up, you understand? Because Monday is when you go, everybody else is like,